Welcome to the Week 8 edition of the WyoVarsity Friday Night Recap video, sponsored by the Parkway Plaza Hotel and Convention Center here in Casper. Last week of the regular season, and it was quite the finish. A lot of teams securing playoff spots in Week 7, but a lot of seeds were up for grabs in Week 8, so let's take you right through it. 4A, 1 and 2 were already locked up. Sheridan had the number 2 and Gillette had the number 1. They both rolled to good wins in Week 8, so they have the top 2 seeds and will have home games through the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, assuming they make it out of the quarters like everyone expects them to. There's a little bit up in the air in terms of the 3 through 8 seeds, though. Natrona edged Rock Springs 19-14 to secure the number 3 spot. Their opponent is TBD, though, because Laramie, Kelly Walsh, and Evanston are all tied for the 6, 7, and 8 spots in Class 4A. They'll go to a coin toss on Saturday. And Laramie was playing their last game at their home stadium before their new stadium is built tonight, and they absolutely throttled Kelly Walsh. One of the more surprising scores of the week that a lot of people didn't expect, and props to the Plainsmen. If you're going to close out a stadium, that's the way to do it. So good job there. They earned themselves a playoff spot in the meantime. Probably the most competitive playoff game, though, in 4A will be Rock Springs traveling to Cheyenne East. That's a rematch of, I believe, Week 0, maybe Week 1, where Cheyenne East got a close win there. But I wouldn't be surprised to see the Tigers come out with a win and travel to Gillette for that semifinal matchup. That's going to be the quarterfinal game to watch, Rock Springs versus Cheyenne East. In 3A, the defending champions were officially eliminated. Cody lost to Powell tonight, so they will not be making the playoffs. They're the only defending champion from 2014 that doesn't make it in 2015. Injuries kind of caught up with the Bronx and was just too much to overcome in what was really a loaded division. At the top of that loaded division was Jackson and Star Valley. The game that I said was going to be the game to watch, and really it lived up to the billing. The 2 defenses were just outstanding tonight. 14-7, Jackson escapes with a victory at Star Valley on the road. Jackson is now 8-1. Their only loss coming to out-of-state Idaho team, and they are the number 1 team out of the 3A West. They'll have home field, and then that means that Star Valley is the number 2, and they'll get home field in the first round, but then face a potential road game at Torrington in the semifinals. And if that happens, that's going to be your game to watch in 3A for the semifinals. But some really interesting matchups there. I think there's still a coin flip to be decided in the 3A East, mostly because Buffalo beat up on Douglas. And another surprising result, really good win for Buffalo. And so we have a 3-way tie for the 2, 3, 4 spots between Douglas, Riverton, and Buffalo to sort out in the 3A East. Moving down into 2A, another surprising result. Bighorn, minus their starting quarterback, who they lost in the first couple weeks of the season, goes on the road and takes down previously unbeaten Wheatland, 28-14. 28 points scored by the Rams. That's more than Wheatland had given up all season. So the Rams took advantage of a plethora of turnovers by Wheatland, and they forced a 3-way tie for the top seed out of the 2A East, but that coin flip's already been decided. Wheatland, despite the loss, gets the 1 seed. Glen Rock is going to be the 2, and Bighorn gets the 3. So a really good win for Bighorn. That might be your surprise of the night, maybe besides that Laramie score over Kelly Walsh. But a great win for Bighorn. That'll do a lot for their confidence moving forward. A team that's gotten to the state finals the last 2 seasons and seem to be hitting their stride now over the last couple weeks. I certainly wouldn't want to face them and Coach Mike McGuire in the playoffs. As my reporter Jack Nallen says, never bet against them in October or November for that matter. Down in Class 1A, Shoshone rolled to a victory. They're the number 1 team out of the 1A West there, and so they're looking like the team to beat in 1A 11-man. Another division that's kind of up for grabs, and we'll see. I don't think that you can really say there's a number 1 legit favorite for the state title, maybe except for 6-man, where Matitsi rolled to a big win over Guernsey. They'll get a playoff rematch with them in the first round, but Matizzi might be the one team that would be a solid favorite to bet to not only get to Laramie, but to also win a state title. The other 4 divisions, I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to bet on anybody because of what we've seen, and especially in Week 8, where you saw our 3A number 1 team in Star Valley and our 2A number 1 team in Wheatland go down. So we'll see. It's going to be really interesting as it all shapes up once we see the final playoff picture tomorrow, once those coin flips are decided. But what a way to end the regular season. Per usual, we'll give out the game balls now, and bonus edition, we're going to go with 4 game balls since the last week of the regular season. First game ball goes to Jackson's Ronnie K. Ronnie had not the best offensive statistics tonight, but 2 pivotal defensive plays. The first one happened in the first half. He had a strip sack that forced a fumble from Star Valley quarterback Reese Heibel, and that set up Jackson in Star Valley territory, and Theo Dawson went in for the first score, and Jackson never trailed after that. They put him up 7-0. And then the last one, Ronnie came up with a fumble recovery and was in on the play when Star Valley had a 4th and short from near the Jackson goal line, trying to tie it late in the 4th quarter. Jackson stopped him. Ronnie came up with the ball, and Jackson went on to win from there. So first game ball goes to Ronnie K out of Jackson. Second game ball goes to the Natrona County kicker, Cody Wilkinson. I know throughout the season I've given kickers a lot of love just because I know their job isn't easy. Wilkinson made it seem that way today. Even in the cold weather, he kicked 4 field goals for Natrona, which ended up being the difference. They won 19-14, so they needed all 4 of them. None of the 4 were chip shots by any matter. 3 of them over 40 yards, and then the other a long 37-yarder, I believe. So Cody Wilkinson, his effort in the kicking game, clinching the number 3 spot for Natrona with 4 field goals. Second game ball. Third game ball goes to Bighorn wide receiver Bryce Beischer. Want to make sure I pronounce that correctly. Bryce had 2 touchdowns today and 130 yards on 5 receptions, and really helped lead Bighorn to that win over Wheatland. He also had an interception and a fumble recovery. So all around, a great game for Bryce. And as I said, Bighorn's really gaining momentum. I wouldn't want to play them in the playoffs. And even as the number 3 seed out of the East, they could be really dangerous, and someone who gets to Laramie that maybe is not number 1 seed. Last game ball goes to Lovell wide receiver Brandon Teeter. Brandon, in one of the best games of the night, I think, between Lovell and Grable, Brandon had the game-winning touchdown catch with about 26 seconds remaining to give Lovell the 21-18 win and clinch the number 1 seed out of 2A West. So their only loss came in week 0, I believe, to an out-of-state opponent. They went undefeated in conference play, and they could be somebody in 2A to look for potentially in getting to Laramie. So last game ball goes to Brandon Teeter. That'll do it for this edition of the WyoVarsity Friday Night Recap. Thanks for tuning in. We'll continue to do this through the playoffs. And as always, keep it here at WyoVarsity.com for all your high school coverage.